Good morning. This is Claude Jobin, and I am sitting with Philip MacAdam, who is a lawyer practicing in Sandy Hill. And so we will find out a little bit more about Philip. Philip, describe your business.
I have a law practice, and it's mainly a solicitor's law practice. In other words, I don't go to court um, and argue cases. So, in other words, I'm not a criminal lawyer, for instance. I don't represent people on criminal charges, um, and neither do I take on litigation matters like civil litigation. So I basically spend most of my time here in my office preparing documents for people pertaining to residential real estate transactions, buying and selling houses, refinancing mortgages, but also estate planning, such as preparing wills, powers of attorney for property, powers of attorney for personal care, and estate administration, where usually I'm hired by an executor of an estate to assist with the administration of the estate of a deceased person.
Okay. Where are you originally from?
Nova Scotia. I was born in Halifax, and my family moved here in the mid 1960s when I was 10 years old. So Ottawa's been home since I was 10, except I went away to university for 10 years.
Where?
I went initially to Peterborough, to Trent University. I was there from 1974 to 1977, and I did a Bachelor of Arts degree there, majoring in philosophy and history. And then I went to Queen's University in Kingston, where I studied music for 2 years. And then I went to McGill, where I studied music full-time for a year, and then studied law for a year, and then studied law for 2 more years, but also studied music in the music faculty part-time in order to complete my music degree. So I got a music degree and a law degree from McGill in 1983.
Sounds a bit checkered in the process to get to the law studies. So what made you choose the profession? It sounds like you had change of heart along the way.
I think I always knew that I would become a lawyer. I remember in the 1970s talking to somebody about what I would choose as a career, and I think law was always kind of there. I remember having that conversation and saying, as early as around 1975 or so, that I would probably become a lawyer. And my father was a lawyer. He didn't practice law. He worked mainly for trust companies as in-house counsel, legal counsel. But my father certainly instilled in me an appreciation of law, and yeah, I was always fascinated to hear about legal cases that my father enjoyed talking about.
And what drives you to do what you do? What motivates you?
Well, part of the appeal definitely is the fact that I'm working for people and I'm working with people. So that makes it interesting. I mean, it really, like I really enjoyed studying law because the law brings you a great deal of insight into what it means to be human in terms of how we interact with each other and the types of issues and conflicts that arise between us. So law kind of really opens up an avenue to really understanding human society,
Right, true.
yeah.
What was it like when you first started? Have things changed?
The practice of law has certainly changed. I've been practicing, as you know, for 35 years, and it's a lot more sophisticated now in terms of the technology. The practice of law, like so many other industries, the practice of law has certainly harnessed technological and communication advances so that things are easier, and there's definitely been a lot of improvements. I mean, a perfect illustration is on a typical end of the month everybody would be lining up at the land registry office, which of course was initially right here on Daly Avenue at the old courthouse in the basement. But since the late 1980s, when I guess I'll still call it the new courthouse opened on Elgin Street at the corner of Laurier, so everybody would be lining up on the fourth floor over at the new courthouse on Elgin Street to register the mortgages and register the transfer deeds, etc. Well, of course, everything's done electronically now, so I don't have to schlep over to the courthouse, right. Especially in the January weather. Do you really want to go out?
Probably
not really.
What was your greatest challenge?
I think that my greatest challenge was probably the equality rights constitutional litigation that I was doing in the late 1980s.
Oh.
I think I started doing that around 1988 or 1989, and I practiced. I had a fledgling constitutional litigation practice going from around 1988 to 1992. At the same time, I was still doing the real estate and the estate planning. That was a challenge because I didn't really have the resources to take on the federal government, the Ontario government, the city of Ottawa. But I did it anyway, and with some degree of success.
So, that's great.
Yeah, it was very satisfying. I consider it really the apex of my legal career.
Wow.
Yeah.